Now Thebes is founded, who can deem thy days unhappy and shine exile, Cadmus? Thou, the son-in-law of Mars and Venus, thou whose glorious wife has borne to shine embraced daughters and sons, and thy grandchildren join around thee, almost grown to man's estate. Nor should we say he leads a happy life. Till after death the funeral rites are paid. Thy grandson, Cadmus, was the first to cast thy dear felicity in sorrow's gloom. Oh, it was pitiful to witness him, his horns outbranching from his forehead, chased by dogs that panted for their master's blood. If thou shouldst well inquire, it will be shown his sorrow was the crime of fortune, not his guilt, for who maintains mistakes are crimes? Upon a mountain stained with slaughtered game, the young Hyantian stood. Already day, increasing to meridian, made decrease the flitting shadows, and the hot sun shone betwixt extremes in equal distance. Such the hour when speaking to his fellow friends, the while they wandered by those lonely haunts, Actaeon of Hyantis kindly thus, our nets and steel are stained with slaughtered game, the day has filled its complement of sport. Now, when Aurora in her saffron car brings back the light of day, we may again repair to haunts of sport. Now Phoebus hangs in middle sky, cleaving the fields with heat. Enough of toil, take down the knotted nets. All did as he commanded, and they sought their needed rest. There is a valley called Gargaphie, sacred to Diana, dense with pine trees and the pointed cypress, where deep in the woods that fringed the valley's edge was hollowed in frail sandstone, and the soft white pumice of the hills an arch. So true it seemed the art of man. For nature's touch, ingenious had so fairly wrought the stone, making the entrance of a grotto cool. Upon the right a limpid fountain ran, and babbled, as its lucid channel spread into a clear pool edged with tender grass. Here, when awearied with exciting sport, the sylvan goddess loved to come and bathe her virgin beauty in the crystal pool. After Diana entered with her nymphs, she gave her javelin, quiver, and her bow to one accustomed to the care of arms. She gave her mantle to another nymph, who stood near by her as she took it off. 2 others loosed the sandals from her feet, but Crocale, the daughter of Ismenus, more skilful than her sisters, gathered up the goddess's scattered tresses in a knot. Her own were loosely wantoned on the breeze. Then, in their ample urns, dipped up the wave and poured it forth, the cloud nymph Nephele, the nymph of crystal pools called Hyel, the raindrop Rhaenys, Psychus of the dews, and Phyle the guardian of their urns. And while they bathed Diana in their streams, Actaeon, wandering through the unknown woods, entered the precincts of that sacred grove. With steps uncertain wandered he as fate directed, for his sport must wait till morn. Soon as he entered, where the clear springs welled or trickled from the grotto's walls, the nymphs, now ready for the bath, beheld the man, smote on their breasts, and made the woods resound, suddenly shrieking. Quickly gathered they to shield Diana with their naked forms, but she stood head and shoulders taller than her guards. As clouds bright tinted by the slanting sun, or purple-dyed aurora, so appeared Diana's countenance when she was seen. Oh, how she wished her arrows were at hand! But only having water, this she took and dashed it on his manly countenance, and sprinkled with the avenging stream his hair, and said these words presage of future woe. Go tell it, if your tongue can tell the tale, your bold eyes saw me stripped of all my robes. No more she threatened, but she fixed the horns of a great stag firm on his sprinkled brows. She lengthened out his neck. She made his ears sharp at the top. She changed his hands and feet, made long legs of his arms, and covered him with dappled hair. His courage turned to fear. The brave son of Autonoa took to flight, and marvelled that he sped so swiftly on. He saw his horns reflected in a stream, and would have said, "Ah, wretched me!" But now he had no voice, and he could only groan. Large tears ran trickling down his face, transformed in every feature. Yet, as clear remained his understanding, and he wondered what he should attempt to do. Should he return to his ancestral palace, or plunge deep in vast vacuities of forest wilds? Fear made him hesitate to trust the woods, and shame deterred him from his homeward way. While doubting thus, his dogs espied him there. First Blackfoot and the sharp-nosed Tracer raised the signal, Tracer of the Gnossian breed and Blackfoot of the Spartan. Swift as wind, the others followed. Glutton, Quicksight, Surefoot, 3 dogs of Arcady, then valiant Killbuck, Tempest, Fierce Hunter, and the rapid Wingfoot, sharp-scented Chaser and Woodranger wounded so lately by a wild boar, savage Wildwood, the wolf begot with Shepherdess the cowdog, and ravenous Harpy, followed by her twin whelps, and thin-girt Leyden chosen from Siconia, Racer and Barker, brindled Spot and Tiger, sturdy old Stout and white-haired Blanche, and black Smut, lusty big Lacon, trusty Storm and Quickfoot, active young Wolfette, and her Cyprian brother black-headed Snap, blazed with a patch of white hair from forehead to his muzzle, swarthy black coat and shaggy bristle, Towser and Wildtooth, his sire of Dicte and his dam of Lacon, and yelping Babbler. These and others, more than patience leads us to recount or name. All eager for their prey, the pack surmount rocks, cliffs and crags, precipitous, where paths are steep, where roads are none. He flies by routes so oft pursued, but now, alas, his flight is from his own. He would have cried, "Behold your master. It is I, Actaeon." Words refused his will. The yelping pack pressed on. First Blackmane seized and tore his master's back. Savage the next, then Rover's teeth were clinched deep in his shoulder. These, though tardy out, cut through a bypath, and arriving first, clung to their master till the pack came up. The whole pack fastened on their master's flesh, till place was none for others. Groaning, he made frightful sounds that not the human voice could utter, nor the stag, and filled the hills with dismal moans, and as a suppliant fell down to the ground upon his trembling knees, and turned his stricken eyes on his own dogs, entreating them to spare him from their fangs. But his companions, witless of his plight, urged on the swift pack with their hunting cries. They sought Actaeon, and they vainly called, "Actaeon! Hi, Actaeon!" just as though he was away from them. Each time they called, he turned his head, and when they chided him, whose indolence denied the joys of sport, how much he wished an indolent desire had haply held him from his ravenous pack. Oh, how much! Better 'tis to see the hunt and the fierce dogs than feel their savage deeds. They gathered round him, and they fixed their snouts deep in his flesh, tore him to pieces, he whose features only as a stag appeared. 'Tis said Diana's fury raged, with none abatement till the torn flesh ceased to live. Hapless Actaeon's end in various ways was now regarded. Some deplored his doom, but others praised Diana's chastity, and all gave many reasons.